Alright. Hello everyone! Welcome! I have a kitty who, I don't know why she's yapping at me. So today we are working in Vilin by Tomislav Tomic, and I am so excited to show you guys all the different kinds of media that you can apply to your pages after you've colored them to lighten up the line work and make it less noticeable. Oh, already bumping into the camera. Okay. So this is the page we've been working on. I did my homework and I finished up the frame the rest of the way we did it with the other bits before. So that's great. That's helpful for us as far as like you know, having everything pretty much ready to paint over. So I still would not consider this page finished yet. What I like to do is I like to cover the outlines, and then sometimes afterwards I have some areas where I'd like to touch it up and kind of, you know, finish it off, if you will. So, oh, excuse me for the squeaky. Alright, so we have a bunch of different media that we're going to try on this page today. And the reason why I'm doing this is because a lot of people use white gel pen, like the Uniball Signo white gel pen. I used to use this a lot, and in fact I do have some videos covering the use of this type of pen. Oh, here we go. Hi. You gonna come say hi to us? Hi, cutie. Abby says hello. And then there's also the very popular Posca pen. There's other types of paint pens that people use all the time. So that all is fine. If you want to use those types of pens, you know, by all means, use whatever you have and whatever you enjoy using. I don't think there's one right answer for this. Oh, Abby. Sorry, guys. She bumped the camera again. So the reason why I wanted to do a whole bunch of different types, I have all kinds of stuff here that I want to play with, is because I have a lot of media already, and I figured I can show you guys how they look and how the different, come here, the different properties, and so that way you can make a more informed decision on your own based on what you're seeing here in the video. So they're all, hi Starbuck, welcome. Hello, yes kitty. I'm trying to keep her in my arms. We'll see how far that goes. Sorry about that. Okay, so I'll just run through all the media we will be trying today. And I have a scrap of paper actually from my demo last night. So we're going to show you the opaqueness of each paint just on a scrap of paper there. And then we will dive in and use what I'm going to determine is my favorite one for this piece. Now, each one of these paints has a different property. So I'm going to also describe the viscosity, how thick it is. I'm going to describe whether it's opaque or transparent. I will also go over if it's glossy or matte. All of these properties will determine what paint is the best paint for you at that point in your project, because I'm aware that some people aren't going to be using it the same way that I do. So, but before we get started, I did want to announce after this stream we will be starting a new page. The page that we'll be doing is the Color Morphia page. This is what we voted on last week. It is this page here, and we'll be using polychromos. So that's the next series. So what we're going to do today is I'm going to do the demo with each type of paint. Then I'm going to show you how I'm going to apply the paint, and then I'm going to show you how you can color over that paint. And then I'm probably going to finish it off on my own. This process can take hours. Hours and hours and hours. I mean, I'm talking, you know, sometimes 10 hours. So, so I don't want to bore you guys with showing you the entire process, but I'm going to demo how I do it, and then I'll just finish it on my own because I just don't want you guys to have to sit through all of that. So I'm going to move that aside. I have a piece of paper. Oh, last night's piece. Yeah, let me show you guys. So I finished cutting it. We finished this last night. Let's see if it looks better on camera today. Yeah, it's still... Well, anyway, I cut it down because we went over the lines and all that on the outside of the piece. So this is what I did last night on my channel. So you can see the finished series. This was so much fun. So that's the image is by Monia Gates, and it's in her Fire Realm pack on her Instagram. I mean on her Etsy shop. Oh, hello. I'm not paying attention to chat. I'm sorry. Hello. Let's see. We've got Kelly, Judy B. Hi, Judy B. Tanya Simpson Miller. Hello. Welcome. I'm not sure if I've seen you before. Hi, Rhea. Hello. Hello. Hey, Shannon. Hey. And we've got, let's see. Who else is here? I'm just reading through the chat. Oh, I'm glad that you guys like it. I think I got everybody. Well, if I missed anybody, it's nothing personal. It's, okay, so what we're gonna do, I have a bunch of paint here, and so what I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna go through and show you each one. And I have a little palette that we were using last night, so I'm just going to use that. I have water, but I'm going to try and do this without thinning things down unless it needs it, just so you guys can see the full opacity of the paint. So I'm going to run through what we have here, and I have used all of these at some point or another on my paintings. However, I haven't tested them side by side, so I have no idea which one is actually the best one. So for me today, I am actually going to try to determine which one is the best one of all the materials. This is not all the types of white paint that are out there. This is just all the stuff that I personally have available to me. Let's actually see if I can show you guys each one. Will that fit in camera? Yep. So it comes with a caveat there that there's a lot more out there available. I'm just going to show you a wide range of different options and the stuff that I use that I already have available. Abby, will you, I'm sorry, cutie, will you sit behind me maybe? Or in the window? It's just it's paint, cutie. Yep, nope. Alright, well, Abby might be back, but hopefully she knows by now that once I get the paintbrush out. So, does anybody have any questions before I get started? Let's see here. Hi, Daria. Welcome. Hi, Loretta. The sky is gonna fall? I doubt it. So the media that we're going to be trying today, and I have used all of these and shown all of these at some point on my channel, I believe. The first one here, let's see if I can get it to, oh, Abby's noshing down, that's why she did that, okay, is Dr. P.H. Martin's Bleed Proof White. This is actually an ink, and it's highly opaque. It is, let's see if I can get, oh, they don't have any information about it. I just know from experience that this is opaque. This is a matte finish, and it is very thick. So there's that. Then we have the Deco Art Americana white acrylic paint. This is in Snow Titanium White. And this is fairly expensive, by the way, so I'm also going to talk a little bit about price. And I will put links in the description below to each one of these on Amazon after the video is over. So this guy here, what's great about it is it's extremely cheap. Especially in the United States, you can get this at a craft store. I know that they sell this at Walmart for like less than $1. You can also get it at a craft store for about $1. It goes on sale a lot, so it's extremely cheap. This goes on semi-opaque. I would say it's not completely opaque, so you might need 1 or 2 coats. It is a little bit thinner, so it's a little bit more liquid, and it is what was the other property? It is matte, is not glossy. Then we have here, this is just a tube I have from a set. I was actually planning on using these for a video at some point, so that's why I got these little paints. I've used these before. These are the Liquitex Basics. This is the student brand of Liquitex paint. I have not used these in a long time, so I am going to hold off on giving you the properties until we try it out. However, this is the brand of Liquitex paint that I use a lot. This is the stuff I use for my professional paintings. And I also use the golden acrylics, but for my white, I always just buy a gigantic tube of Liquitex. So this here is very thick. It has a heavy body. It's very opaque, and it is glossy. So the reason why that's important to know is you cannot put pencil over this. This is probably the main reason why I will not be using this on my coloring page. However, if you do want it to look white and you don't want to put pencil over it, then this would be fine. So I get the big tube because it's actually cheaper per milliliter this way. If you're going to be using a lot of it, then I do suggest getting a big tube, but we probably won't be using that today. And then the next one that I use all the time, hi Lisa, welcome. The next one that I use all of the time is this one here. This is, oh come on, focus. Hello. It's not focus. Oh, that's funny. There we go. The Winsor & Newton Designer's Gouache. This is the permanent white. So there's 2 whites when you go to buy gouache in this brand. There's the zinc white and the permanent white. The zinc white is more transparent. It is also better for mixing. This is better for your bright highlights. The reason I love this, even though it's expensive, you can see I use it quite often. The reason I love it is it's opaque, it's fairly thick, and it is so matte that when you go over it with pencil, it takes it really well. So this is one of my favorites. I've used this a lot in my coloring books to cover dark outlines. However, I think we have a new contender for my favorite, and that is what I'm going to discuss right now. And that is, we have 2 different types here. I bought another brand just to kind of compare them side by side. But we've been using on my channel, come on, focus, hello, there we go. It seems like talking to the camera and encouraging it helps. So anyway, the contender for my favorite, and this is why I want to compare them side by side, the Turner Acrylic Gouache. This is a very opaque medium. It is thick and it is matte. So it's very similar to the gouache that I'm using by Winsor & Newton, but this is permanent, whereas the gouache is rewettable. The reason I like this is it seems like it might be more opaque than the Winsor & Newton Designer's Gouache, which I've been using before. But I have not compared them side by side because I've been using this only recently. So I really want to try that out and compare these two. And just for jollies, because I'm a big fan of the Liquitex brand, and I'm not sponsored by any of these, by the way. This is just all stuff that I love and I use. I did pick up, this is fairly expensive. If you buy a tube of this single, it can run you quite a bit of money for the size of the tube. So I wanted to try a more budget-friendly option. This is the Liquitex. Let's see if I can get it to focus. This is the Liquitex Professional Acrylic Gouache in Titanium White. This is a much bigger bottle, and I just figured since I like the other Liquitex products, I might like this. So I just wanted to kind of compare these all side by side. Just for you guys and also for myself. And then once we determine what the favorite is, I'm going to apply it to the page in my book. So I have here a piece of really dark blue cardstock. I thought that would be easy enough to test on. Does anybody have any questions before I get going? Hi Emily, welcome. Hi Bo. Who else popped in while I was chatting away? Let's see. Hi, Kenny. Oh, thank you, Emily. You would not even believe how I did them. I'll show you some pictures later. I used white hole reinforcers to mask off to do my the tips of them. Because I like doing weird things. Okay. Anyway. No questions before we go. Hi Dorothy, welcome. Welcome everyone. Okay. So I think we'll start with stuff that I'm fairly sure, I have a feeling it's going to be between these three. But let's start with these guys. I just want to show you, compare them all. So we have here the, I'm going to move these out of the way just so that I don't knock anything over, which is a very real possibility. I'm sleepy, so okay. So this is the bleed proof white. I love this because unlike a lot of other white paints, oh, it's flaking. Unlike a lot of other white paints, the reason why it says bleed proof is some pigments like reds bleed through a white paint. This does not do that. And I have tested that already, so I know. Okay, so yeah, it's fairly opaque, but it's not super opaque. Sorry, I'm creating a mess already. This is fun. Okay, just dump this in the trash. Okay, so now I'm going to wash my brush and then I'm going to dry it. So I have here a paper towel. I'm going to get it as dry as possible just so we can compare these fairly equally between all mediums. So that is, and let me write down, excuse me, let me write down what they are. Let's see, will this write on there? Bow. Yeah, I suppose. Okay, so this is the Dr. Peach bleed proof. Okay, let me take a sip of water. Let's see here. All right, I'm just reading the chat a little bit. Okay, so we've done the bleed proof. You guys can see, let's zoom in a little actually, just so that you guys can see a little better. There we go. So what's great is It's opaque. It went on really smooth right out of the jar, and it is matte, so as it dries you'll be able to see a little bit better. And I'm going to do a test of pencil on all of these so you can see how they interact. So the next one, I'm going to shake this up because it's imperative that you shake it up. The next one that we'll be trying out is the Americana, the Deco Art Americana Titanium White. And I'm just going to put a little blob of this onto my palette. And my brush is only slightly damp. It's pretty dry at this point, so I think it's fair enough. So that's actually more opaque than I remember. Okay, so let's wash this off, and then I'll just label it, just so we don't have to remember which one is which. Okay, so this is the Deco Art Americana Titanium. Uh-oh. This pen, there we go. Okay. Yay! Okay, so that's done. Then we have the, let's see here. Yay! Alright, so let's try now, let's try the budget version of the Liquitex. This is the Liquitex Basics in Titanium White. And I actually bought a set of these little paints to play with for the channel, so we will be painting on a page with these. I usually use the Professional brand and not the Basics brand, so I wanted to compare them side by side and see how they differ. Ugh, this one's a lot thicker. Straight out of the tube, it's already sort of drying out as I apply it, so you would probably need to wet that. It's also less opaque than even the Deco Art, it looks like. Well, let's let it dry and we'll see what happens there. Okay, cleaning off my brush and drying it off, and then we'll label that bad boy. Judy, you can check past purchases on Etsy if you have an account. You can also look through your email that's associated with your purchase. But I believe, I don't know if you can get a free image on Etsy. I believe that might be distributed another way. I could be wrong about that. Liquitex Basics. I'll just put that. Okay. Now let's try right next to it. We're going to use the Liquitex Professional Titanium White. Let's see what the difference is with this guy. So putting a little blob on my palette. Yeah, Judy, there's a place in your Etsy account where you can look up your orders, I believe it's called, or something like that. Ah, very thick. Oh, let's get a little more and see if I can. Maybe I just didn't have enough on my brush. No, this is actually interesting. Okay. So it goes dry brush a lot quicker. It's thicker than the others. I mean, I'm not surprised. It says heavy body right on the tube. But that's interesting. So you would definitely have to wet that and reduce the opacity by adding water. Hi, cutie. What's going on? Yeah. Oh, she's so sweet. Okay. Liquitex. Pro. Okay. Fascinating. um. Oh, thanks guys for the thumbs up. Yeah, that helps. Okay. Now let's go into the gouache family. So we've done ink, then acrylics. Now we're going into let's do the gouache next. So this is the Winsor & Newton Designer's Gouache in Permanent White. Let's see if I can open this tube without hurting my hands. There we go. These little gnarly caps, they're like, sometimes they hurt my fingers, but we did okay today. Okay, just trying to get a tiny bit on there. Now this is expensive stuff, guys, so that's why I want to compare it side by side with the cheaper acrylic washes, because I have a feeling they're going to perform very similar. And while I love the gouache, I feel like it might be a little bit overkill on the price. Okay, so we only have 3 left, so I'm going to separate these out a little. Yeah, it is beautiful though, I will admit. Oh my gosh, so smooth to go down and so opaque. You see how it's better than, well, let's let it dry, but something about it. You'd think all white paints are created equal, but they are not. They are definitely different. It's the way that they have the binders and the different chemicals in them. Okay, so this is the Winsor & Newton Designer Gouache. Okay. Gouache family, yeah. And then we have the Turner acrylic gouache. Now this is different from this gouache, mostly in this one you can re-wet and rework once it's dry. This one, once you re-wet it, it is permanent. But I think that's actually nicer because we could put water-based marker over this one and it wouldn't budge. So that's why I'm actually happy about that. So let's put a little dab on my palette and see what's going to happen. Alright. I have a feeling this is more opaque than the Winsor & Newton, but I'm excited to compare them side by side. Let's see. Okay, it's thicker. Only by a little though. Okay, we'll see how that dries. Let's wash my brush. Oh, isn't this interesting? Huh, I cannot wait to see these all dry because I think there's some interesting observations here with this experiment. It's always good to experiment with what you have because you don't know until you try it out. You might have a good hunch, but you never know. Okay, so that was the Turner acrylic gouache. And now this one I have not used pretty much at all. I did just play with it a little bit just for jollies. This is the Liquitex Professional Acrylic Gouache, and it has this funny little squeezy tip, but I think that's actually kind of nice. It makes it a little more precise. Let's see what happens with this. Oh, that's nice. That lays down really smooth too. I'd say actually they're fairly similar. All right. Let's see how they dry though, because really the drying is the key there. I think the turner might be more opaque, but let's see. Okay, so we've put all of it down. Oh, let me label that just so that we remember. All right, so, oh, hello. So that's the Liquitex acrylic gouache. Got it. Okay, so let's let this dry. Let's see. Hi, Adri, welcome. Interesting. Hi, Natalie, welcome. Natalie, I sent your book yesterday. Thank you very much. I hope you like it. Okay, let's see. I'm going to move all these different tubes out of the way. Got so much going on. Okay. Let's see here. Oh, Abby's being a good kitty cat. Good kitty cat. Okay. I'm actually going to put this, I have a heating vent right at my feet. I'm just going to put that there, it'll dry quicker. So now I want to talk about my technique for going over the black outlines on the page. Oh, let's see. Is the Winsor and Newton dry yet? Let's see. Oh yeah, it is. Are they really all dry already? No, so the Liquitex here is a little bit wet still. So let's just let them dry for a minute and let's see what happens. Oh, you're welcome, Natalie. Thank you. Hi, Sammy. Hello, hello, welcome. All right, so, all right, we've got quite a busy chat today. That's awesome. Thank you all for coming. And I'm sorry I'm a little sleepy. We had a late night of fun last night. Okay, that's fine. So I'm just going to talk a little bit about my process and how I'm going to do this, and then hopefully by the time I'm done nattering on, we will be ready to go. So what I like to do first is I like to assess which areas are popping out at me and which areas are kind of, I can leave them alone basically. So let me zoom out so that you can actually see the page. So for example, this line here, right, it's in the light source and it is high contrast and it's drawing the eye. So that line there, I'm going to get rid of it and probably end up coloring. This is all Tombow brush marker, so I'll probably color the brush marker over the acrylic paint or the gouache or whatever we end up using. And then same with like this line here. Now that I might just leave white because it's so close to white that you almost don't need to put a color on there. But a line like, say this line back here on his back, it's so close to black back here and it's so dark back there that I feel no need to put to get rid of the outline at all. And same with all of this back here. But see how this little edge of the leaf here, let's zoom in a little just so you guys can maybe see it a little better. So this edge of the leaf here, where it's like like that bump, that ridge. Can you see that okay? That I might get rid of and then put marker over, or, oh, I've got a glare going on. Let's see if I can fix that. I might put some you know, white paint on and then go over it with a color. Again, down here, the tail is showing some of the lines really, really brightly. Things like his paw here, I can see that line really well. But you see the back of his paws, or his elbow here, or whatever, you can't really see that line, so it's not going to bother me. So my technique when I'm working on pages, I'll show you another one that I've done this with, just so that you can kind of see. Now this I did with white gel pens, so you can use all kinds of media to do this type of work. But you can see here in the light, I definitely went over all of the lines with the white there. But then in the dark areas, I left all of the black outlines as they are. So here is a really great example of me mixing. Let's zoom in and I'll really show you really close up. Oh, it's not focused. Let's see. No, that's less focused. I guess that's as focused as it gets. So here you can see I have put a little bit of white gel pen on part of the outline and left the other part of the outline black. That's in the direction of the light. So since the light is coming from this way, I just put the white gel pen where the light would be hitting those bumps. And same with, you see like this all of a sudden turns into a black line. So you don't always have to get rid of all of the lines. This is just my personal preference. I'm just showing you how I do it. So I don't worry about all of the lines. Again, you can see I did I got rid of the outline here, but not here. So I call this selective black outline removal. And that's just because I like using the black outlines to my benefit as I like them or don't like them. So if they distract me, or if I feel like they're kind of weighing down the area that's supposed to be in the light, then I go ahead and remove them. But yeah, it doesn't have to be. Did I do another page? Oh yeah, I did that on this page as well. So you can see, again, another really good example. I left the black outlines down here where it's dark, and I got rid of them closer to the light source. So this is just two examples of the same exact strategy that I'm going to be using in the page we're working on now. I hope that makes sense. I don't know if I explained it right. Hi Vicky, welcome. Oh, yeah, I did give some out free, but I don't do it through Etsy. I usually give out my free pages on my website, but then they end up being for sale on my Etsy shop. Yep. And for my pages, Judy, you can usually tell who did it. Like I write Laura Rafferty in the file name, so that might be a good thing to check. Let's see. Crunchy salad and chicken. That sounds yummy. Sorry, I'm just reading the chat. You love the colors? Thank you. Yeah, thanks, Kenny. Hi, Rosemary. Welcome. Hi, Leslie. Thanks for coming, guys. Okay, let's check our little test swatch. Let's see here. Oh, yeah, they're all dry. Oh, this is fascinating. Wow. Okay, our test is definitely conclusive. Let me zoom in so that you guys, why is it not focusing now? Is it because it needs to go up? Sorry, I'm going to play with the camera a little bit. Hold on. I'm just trying to get it more in focus, but it seems like that's as good as it gets. Okay. Well, you'll see here the Dr. Peach Bleed Proof White. Let's grab a pencil. Let's see here. I just want to show you how the pencil interacts with them as well. So we have some colors that we're going to be using for the page that we're working on. So yeah, they're all dry. So let's just look at them individually here. So let's see here, because this is a little washed out. Hold on, let me. There we go. That's more true to life. Okay. So we have the Dr. Peach Bleed Proof. This is, to my eye, really, really bright white. It doesn't have a gloss to it, and it just looks, it looks like it's really good to go. The titanium white from the DecoArt brand is not opaque. You can definitely see blue through it. I don't know if the camera is picking this up very well. Let me see if I can help the camera out here. It's just a black drawing board. I don't know. Yeah, it's funny how the camera doesn't like dark surfaces. So washed out. Okay, well, that's about, it's funny because I really can't even, it's still really washed out. Let's see. No, that's too dark. I don't know what to tell you. Here, I think it might have been better like this. Oh, so hard to do these things. There we go. All right, sorry, playing with the camera. So the DecoArt Americana, this guy is coming through a little, so I would definitely need another coat to make it feel completely opaque. That's what I had guessed. The nice thing about it though is straight out of the bottle, really is very smooth to put down. The Liquitex Basics performed very similarly, except it actually is more thick, so you might have to water it down a little to get a nice smooth application. So I would actually consider the Liquitex Basics to be one of the worst of this group. The Liquitex Professional, it went down really bright, brighter than the other two acrylics that we tried. However, it is a lot thicker, so it didn't go down smoothly, and it is definitely glossy. So I don't know how the pencil will take to it. We'll discover that in a minute. The Winsor & Newton Designer's Gouache, as expected, is super opaque, went down smooth, and it just looks amazing. I mean, there's no surprise why it was for a long time my favorite way to cover black outlines. However, what is surprising to me is that the Turner acrylic gouache performs exactly the same. Really, really bright, a little bit less smooth. It's a little bit thicker, so you might need to water it down a little bit. And it is completely matte, so I am excited about trying that. And then the Liquitex acrylic gouache, it is not as bright as the Turner. It's still the same thickness, and it is matte. But I'm a little disappointed with the brightness on that. I think we would need a second coat to really get rid of the outline completely. So, you know, you get what you pay for. This one's cheaper, but it's also probably going to take twice the amount of paint to get the same coverage. So let's have some fun. and play with, let's move that out of the way. Oh, did I drop a pencil? Yeah, no. Okay. So let's have some fun with going over them. So I have just a Prismacolor Premier Dark Green. This is the 908. I don't know if you guys can see this. No? Hello? Here. Let's bring this back over. Hello? There we go, 908. So let's just go over the different paint and see how they take the pencil. So this is actually surprisingly not as great. I mean, it does take it, but it's hard to get a nice dark color. This one takes it really well. The Americana titanium white acrylic paint dries really matte, and it is amazing. That looks really good, actually. We've got the Liquitex Basics. This is not taking it super well, but it's actually better than the Bleed Proof White. The Bleed Proof White, actually, even though it dries matte, it doesn't actually want to take the acrylic the pencil that well. And then this is hard to get on here too. So I would say I would not want to pencil over the Liquitex Professional or the Dr. P.H. Martin Bleed Proof White. Now you could put acrylic paint over those guys, that would be just fine. Alright, the Winsor Newton Designer's Gouache, as expected, is perfect for this. Another reason why it's no surprise. The Turner Acrylic Gouache, fascinating. It is a brighter color than I expected, but still takes it okay. I would say actually the Designer's Gouache is still a favorite. Oh, interesting. The Liquitex Acrylic Gouache it actually looks the best out of all of them. Interesting. Wow. Let's try another color just to make sure what we're doing here. Oh yeah, I did drop a pencil. Where did he go? Oh, here you are. Hello, buddy. Okay. Wow, are you guys surprised about this? I'm surprised. I don't know if you guys can see. I don't know if you guys can see how this is working, but I am very, very surprised at these results. Let's try again. Let me zoom in. Even though it's not in focus very well, let's see here. Okay, so the Dr. P.H. Martin Bleed Proof would be amazing for covering up reds and purples, which kind of have a hard time with white going over them, but I would not recommend penciling over it. I would use paint for this guy. Let's just try again and see. So this is with the 946 dark brown. Yeah, same thing, even further up where it is less opaque, where the paint started to run off my brush. It's just not taking the pencil as well as I would hope. The Americana is beautiful for this. So I'd say if you want a budget, if you're on a budget and you want to cover black outlines, then this stuff is your stuff. That's amazing. For the price, I'm impressed with the performance here. The Liquitex Basics, again, yeah, just not as nice. And same with the Professional. I feel like this one is one of the worst. The Designer's Gouache, much more expensive but more opaque than the Americana. That one is my favorite, although more expensive. That's this guy here. And the Turner Acrylic Gouache, while more opaque, also, I guess because it has some acrylic properties, does not like the color pencil that well. However, the Liquitex acrylics, which I expected to actually perform worse, does better. So this is a fascinating experiment. Let me try a different brand. We've got Prismacolor there. Let me try a softer wax-based pencil. Let's try the Luminance. I've just got a random dark color here. Which color is this? 095 Light Aubergine. Let's try down here at the bottom. This is where it's going to be the most opaque. Okay, so the more pigmented Luminance does a nicer job covering all of these, but still struggles the same way and performs the same way as the Prismas. Yep. I'm gonna say my favorites for covering. So, wow, this is a really good experiment actually. So, my favorite for covering black outlines that then I want to color over. Let's actually try a, before we, I'm sorry, I can't get over how different this came out than what I expected. So let me try a marker over these. This is gonna be interesting as well. So the marker, this is Tombow 947. Okay, the marker does really well on the bleed proof white. Okay, I know from experience that this is going to smear, so I'm going to do that last. Wow. No, it didn't do it that time. Oh yeah, but I did get some gouache on the tip of my thing, so let me just really quick clean it off. Okay. Alright, so the conclusion to this experiment, which has really been very enlightening, the Dr. Peach Martin Bleed Proof White, one of the most opaque, really easy to apply, but pencil doesn't work great over it. I would use marker over it. The Deco Art Americana White Titanium paint, not as opaque, but it is very matte, it flows easily, and it takes pencil beautifully. It is also one of, actually it is the cheapest on the market, so I would use this one if you're on a budget. You can always go over the line twice if you need to. For the price, I would say this is probably the best value. The Liquitex Basics I would not use, same with the Liquitex Professional. The Winsor & Newton Designer's Gouache performed really beautifully. I would not use water-based marker with it, or actually any marker, because it does pull up. I don't know if you can see this, but I can see there's like some splotchiness going on with that. But as far as penciling over it goes, it is amazing. There's a reason why it's been one of my favorites for a long time. The Turner Acrylic Gouache, amazingly opaque, but I would say does not take marker or pencil very nicely. It's like it just wants to be by itself. So you could paint over that if you want to, but I would not try to pencil over it. The Liquitex Acrylic Gouache, however, this stuff here, which is actually cheaper than the Turner Acrylic Gouache, performed very similarly to the Deco Art Americana paint, except that it is even brighter. So, wow, this is pretty cool actually. So I'm really happy I picked this stuff up. I think this is what I'm going to be using, but maybe let's play with these two. These two are my picks. This is budget, and this is, I believe this was $8 for this tube. This is $1 for this. And this is 2 fluid ounces, and this is 2 fluid ounces. So they're the same size. This one is just, a different shape. So, what do you guys think? Like, was this informative for you? Let's see, let's read the chat. You've got gallons of it? Starbucks. Oh. Let's see. Americana is your favorite. That's good. Um. Okay. So I'm going to put the designer's gouache away. That is a really nice paint, but I think for this application I'm not going to use it. It's super expensive, and now I know that there are two really awesome options. So let's use a little bit of both of these on our page and see what will happen. So let's zoom out. Let's get myself oriented here. Okay. Wow, that's cool. All right, I'm really excited about that. That's cool. And what I'll do is I'll take a picture of this and upload it onto my website so you guys, and I'll link it in the description below after the video is over, so that way you guys can download it and take a better look at it when it's in focus. And yeah, but that's, I'm really, wow. Yeah, so the acrylic gouache, yep, and the deco art. Wow, okay. All right, I'm just astonished. We do experiments for a reason, and that is one of them. What you expect to find is not always what is the truth. So experimenting is the best way to find out what the best stuff is. Okay, so I'm going to put, let's start with the budget brand first. This is the cheaper version. I'm going to just shake it up again really good. Woohoo! Hi Cassandra, welcome. Hello, hello. All right. So tell me in the chat rather, what you guys use to do this. Do you use paint? Do you use Posca pens? So I'm just going to start at the frame at the top. So I'll zoom in just so you guys can see a little bit better what I'm going to do. Okay. And I am going to mix a little bit of water into this at this point, just to help myself in the future as it dries. However, it's not a lot of water. I just have a damp brush. So I'll probably have to go over this more than once, but let's just get going on this. So yeah, you guys can see I'm in frame. So I'm using a very cheap brush I got from Walmart. It was in a pack of 5 brushes for like $2.99. It is the number 5 Royal and Langernickel, and it looks like this. And I got it in like the craft section of Walmart. And I love these brushes. I don't know why. I don't really care about the price. They're golden taklon. They're synthetic. But they have a nice tip. They hold a nice point. So this just takes patience and time. I'm not trying to hurry. And you know, you don't have to be perfect because we're going to go over this. This is the acrylic paint, so it will dry permanent, so we can put our marker over this. But it's a matte paint. So we can put marker or watercolor pencil and it will work beautifully. So I just take my time, and this is why I won't do the whole thing on stream, because it will literally take me hours to do this. But I love it. I don't know why, but I just zone out. I mean, it's a very easy task. You don't really have to think about it. You're not picking colors anymore, you know, you're just so it's easy and so meditative. Now up here, I may actually choose not to put any color on it at all. It's butted right up against the white of the paper. So we will see. So what I generally choose to do is I'll put all the white paint on first, and then I go through and put the color on. I'm going to kind of do that out of order today, just to show you guys my techniques for how to cover those paint lines once we're done. But okay, so now I have a feel for the brush. See, I choose an inconspicuous spot to start. Up here in the frame is not drawing the attention and the eye the same way that the tiger would. So I choose to start in an area where if I make mistakes or I mess up, it's not really going to be that big of a deal. Just kind of get yourself going. Now you see I left that dark outline there, and it's because I think it actually helps with the dimensionality of that area. So again, that's where I use selective outlining. So let's do the whole top of this. We'll do one side. This is a fun experiment. Let's do one side. So I'm going to stop here. I'm going to try to use the more expensive brand, and let's see how they dry and what they look like side by side. So I'm just cleaning my brush, drying it off a little bit. Because it's ink, it soaks into the paper and dries very flat and easy to color over. Actually, this is acrylic. This is not ink. It says acrylic paint. Yeah, it's just each acrylic paint has a different formula. Take care, Vicky. Yeah. Okay. So now we have the top there done in the Americana. Now I'm going to try our Liquitex acrylic gouache. And this is really thick, so I'm going to add a little water to it as well. Just to make it flow easy. Okay, I've loaded my brush up. Now let's see how this guy goes. Sorry, I've gone quiet. It's so meditative. I can't even. I go into like this happy place where I don't even think about anything. Shuts your brain off. Just focus on the task at hand. I think that's why coloring is so good for us, guys. It just like takes us to this other place in our minds. Let's see. Oh, thank you, Judy. Oh, the India ink. Yeah, that's different. Gotcha. Yep. Let's see here. So yeah, I feel like they are both covering at about the same. Yeah, guys, wow. For the price and the quality, I would say the Americana is perfect for this task. So if you have access to that paint in a local store, I would go ahead and grab your coupon and get it for dirt cheap. I know they do sell it at my local Walmart as well. I think for like 88 cents or something. It's ridiculous. I might have to go and buy another bottle of that stuff. I might be using it a lot more. So I know a lot of people have other techniques and methods, but for my own personal use, I think going forward I will be using these two probably the most. But yeah, I think I actually prefer the Americana. Fancy. So funny. Because this paint here, the acrylic gouache, you have to water down. So I'm having to go over it several times to get the same opacity. Where that stuff is very, very pigmented right out of the bottle. It flows well. That's funny. So I hope that this experiment was helpful for you guys to kind of see. I know I don't have every paint under the sun, but Emily. This one here, yeah, I mean, it does have a slightly, so the Liquitex has a little bit of better coverage, but you have to water it down. So it's an interesting thing where once you water it down, then it becomes less coverage. Whereas this has just better coverage right out of the bottle because you don't have to water it down as much. So I think I'm gonna put the expensive bottle of paint away. See ya. This guy is going away. I'm going to use the Deco Art Americana for the rest of this. So that's exciting actually, because I feel like I can go and buy like a whole lot of this stuff for real cheap. Not worry about it. Emily, you're funny. Okay. So, now that I'm super comfortable with what I've chosen, let's see how it goes over very waxy. This was not waxy, so let's see how this takes. This area is super waxy. I've burnished. So let's see how it goes over really waxy pencil. Oh my goodness. Here, let me zoom in more so you guys can see. It's not, it's going over it. It's not creating those like separation lines that you get. This stuff is amazing, guys. Oh my gosh. Okay. Yay! So this is too bright now, but what I want to do, the reason why I'm doing this now is I want it to dry so that I can pencil over it and show you guys sort of a glimpse as to the finished result. But you can see why it just takes time. This is a process that just is not quick, but that doesn't bother me at all. Now, a lot of people just leave the black outlines, and that is totally okay as well. There's nothing wrong with that. I just figured I'd show you my exact method for how I color these Tomislav pages. So you see any of the lines that stand out to me, I'm going to do this too. Yeah, it's gonna take me a while. Arita, that's a great question. So, the reason why the Turner and the Liquitex are both called acrylic gouache is because they have the properties of gouache in that it dries as a matte finish. Usually acrylics, like I would almost consider this acrylic paint to be an acrylic gouache as well. It also usually has something to do with the chemicals that they use to create it. So they might use gum arabic like other gouaches. But the difference is that the acrylic gouache dries permanent, meaning that once you re-wet it, it will not re-wet. If you use, say, the Winsor & Newton gouache on my palette here, it's this blob here. If you wet it again, you see how it's dry. If you wet it again with water, it reactivates and becomes usable again. I don't know if you guys can see this because it's white on white, but the paint is able to come up and be used again. So that's sort of the difference there, is that, and sometimes that's desirable. Let me wash my brush again. Sometimes when you're watercoloring and you want things to be re-wettable, then that gouache is great. But for me, because I want to be able to put water-based marker over my lines, I would prefer it to be permanent. So that's why I lean towards the acrylics. This acrylic paint is permanent. The two acrylic gouaches, so this one here and this one here, are also permanent. So yeah, I would prefer these when I'm using, if you're trying to put like Tombows or Copics or any kind of marker over it, I would recommend using the acrylic gouache and not the regular gouache. I hope that answers your question. Yeah, neither will be. Yeah, Kenny has it succinctly put that neither will re-wet. Okay, I'm dipping back into my Americana. Now the nice thing about these is they dry fairly quickly. So I only put a little bit on my palette, preferring not to waste the paint, and instead I just, as the paint dries, I put more on my palette to keep going. that's fairly dark, but I do want to put okay. Let's do the wing. Oh yeah, this is great. This was such a good experiment, guys. I'm really excited now because one of the cheapest, actually the cheapest one is the one that won, which means that I can feel free to do this to all of my books all the time and not worry about it. I'm very surprised though. I thought the more expensive gouaches would perform better, but for our particular purposes, this matte cheap acrylic is amazing. Good morning, Sue. Welcome. Yeah, you got it, Arita. It is kind of confusing, but yeah, they all have slightly different formulas. So, like, not all gouaches are the same, not all acrylic gouaches are the same, not all acrylics are the same. So I encourage anyone who wants to kind of solve this riddle for themselves. If you have lots of different media, you know, I would just sit down and do the same exact experiment that I did. It really is worthwhile to kind of discover which of your mediums that you have would be the best. I started using paint a while back because I found that the pens, they just were frustrating me because they wouldn't go over the waxy pencils very well. It was possible to do it, but I just find that using a paintbrush is just a lot easier for me and more relaxing, so less frustrating, I guess. So that's why I started using them, the paints, I mean. But I know a lot of people use Posca pens or white gel pens. Those are all valid ways to get rid of the black outlines as well. Basically, I would encourage you to do whatever works for you. There's no one answer. I just wanted to solve the answer for myself. for what I have, you know. Yeah. So what's good is this whole area is really really bright. So this is definitely helping a lot. Oh yeah. He's already starting to come out more from the page. I find that the black outlines sometimes flatten the image when it's in a bright area. So by doing this, he like pops out more. Hello, hello. Anyone I missed? Thanks for coming, guys. Okay, so once this area is dry, we will apply some marker to it. The same markers that we used and let's do some, see his white fur here? I love doing this. Oh my gosh, this is so much fun. I don't know why. Oh, okay. wash my brush off and make it easier for myself. Don't wait, Kenny. Go get your coffee. I swear, we're not done yet. I know I'm going over my time, but that is just fine. I really want to kind of complete this so that way I can just work on it at night on my own and finish it off really quick and get it done. Because next time we're going to start the other page. It's going to be so fun. Oh my gosh, I'm a little nervous though because I have not used my polys that much, but I'm sure I'll get the hang of them as we go through that series. So let's put a little glint, a little sparkle in his eye. So I just grabbed some new paint. Let's put a little dot right there. Oh yeah. He looks so fierce. Let's see, let's do his teeth here. So anywhere that stands out to you, that's where you want to go for this. Oh, you're welcome, Rosemary. It is very cost effective, yes. I highly recommend this. And I'm using a really cheap brush too. You don't need fancy, expensive stuff to get the job done. And we just proved that today. So I'm really excited about that. You're very welcome. You know, and I've shown all kinds of techniques in the past. But you know how as you evolve and change as an artist, your techniques and your materials evolve and change as well. So I love revisiting this experiment. Every time I have new materials or just a new technique, I love to revisit, re-experiment. And I thought I would do that. You know, usually those experiments I do on my own. But I thought I would just share the way that I experiment with my paints and my different materials, because I figured knowing that procedure of how to test stuff is always helpful. That's just like, you know, you teach a man to fish kind of thing. Like, I'm teaching you guys how to experiment with your materials, so that way when you go to when you have your own stuff, you can do it on your own and you don't have to rely on one of us guys, YouTube people, to experiment. So I do encourage experimenting. You know, anytime that you're not sure how a material will work, just grab a scrap paper and have at it, because that's really like the best way to learn, is just by doing it and seeing it for yourself. And that's how I learn a lot. So thanks, Emily. Hi, Strawberry. Welcome. I don't think I've seen you here before. Hi, Connie. Oh, I'm sorry to hear that, Rosemary. Yeah. Oh, okay, Kenny, I gotcha. You have to wake up Bailey soon. Alright, let's see. I'm just looking here. I kind of want to stay in the same area so that way we can just play with the markers in that area. Let's do some more on his shoulder. So yeah, so in the chat, don't be afraid. Tell us what works for you, what you love using, your process. I hear some people gesso the entire page before they even start. See, I don't do that, but that's another way to go. So yeah, tell me how you get rid of the black lines and what you do in your artwork, what materials do you like using? Because I'm always open to suggestions, and I'm sure the rest of us would love to know as well. So, and if you're watching this back, then just put that in the comments below. We can all help each other out, because I'm always curious, and I don't feel like there's one answer to this question, so. But I'm really happy with our experiment today. I'm excited that this was the winner. So inexpensive. I can undo all the outlines in all my books with no fear of breaking the bank. So exciting. Yep, take your time. You like the white Sakura de cross pen. Okay. Yeah, I have the Uniball white Signo, and I used to use this a lot. This was my go-to for a long time. But you're right, Rosemary, they can be temperamental. You really have to, what I've found, if just a trick for those of you struggling with your white jelly rolls, let me grab a scrap just to show you. I'll move this aside for a second. We'll let that dry while we play with this. So this is just a scrap. So you can see how it kind of comes out uneven, and it's not consistent. So this happens a lot, but I've found what happens is that the roller ball inside the pen gets caught up with the paint. So if you just, I know this is weird, but if you just roll the pigment, the pen on your finger, the oils from your hand, once it gets going again, will make it a lot smoother. It's a very weird trick. I don't know why, and now it's already clogging up again. So when I was using the jelly rolls, my hands would just be covered with the jelly roll pen, and I would have to go wash it off all the time. So that's a little hack if you're trying to use jelly rolls and you're struggling. The oils from your fingers will actually grease that little roller ball inside and help you make it a little smoother. However, I don't know the toxicity of these, so that's why I don't usually recommend doing that on my channel, because I don't know if that's negatively affecting me, and I don't know, I just figure, you know, there might be a better way of doing it. That's just how I used to do it. But I've long since switched over to paint a long time ago and don't use pens anymore for the same reason. Since it's kind of frustrating and not consistent, I prefer using paint now. Thanks, Charlotte. It's so funny. Yeah, Shannon. Well, the thing is like everybody has their own way of doing things, and that is totally okay. There's no right or wrong way to do something. If it makes you happy, then that's the important part. So, all right, let's see here. We have, let's see here. I think I'm good actually on doing the demo for this. So you guys will, you guys have a great idea now of my technique on how I do this. You're gonna see I'm gonna do this all over wherever there's light. So I will not be doing it in the background here where there's a lot of darks. I just don't feel it's necessary. But like these little flowery bits, I'll do that, and then put some Tombow over. Again, over here I'll do that. The paw, and most of the frame. I mean, the frame is going to take me a long time, so I'm not going to bore you guys with showing you every little last thing that I do on this page. I think that's going to take another like 10 hours. But I will show you a quick demo of how the marker and the pencil, let's see, which color. Now I just have to remember which color I used. That was so long ago. I think I used a combo of this one. And where's the other one? Well, this one I know I used, well, at least I think I used it. I should have looked this up before I did this. Just looking at my markers. 992. I think it was 992. Let's just test. Let's test it out. Oh man. Got a scrap here. Scrap paper. So whenever you're not sure if you're trying to color match. So I believe this one. Yep, I think that's the one we were using for those, the dark ones. And then I believe this one with this one layered over it is what we were using. Yeah, that looks about right. Okay, this is a different type of paper, so let's see if this is dry. Yeah, the place where we started out is dry. So I'm gonna go over it. Now, I want it to be fairly matching, so I'm gonna use the same exact material, but you don't have to always match it. Sometimes it's fine just to get an approximate match. So I'm using 992, which is I believe what we used before, so I'm just gonna go over it with a quick stroke where these spots are. I'm leaving the other bits white, and that one's a darker one. And now I'm going to let that dry. Now it takes a while to dry over the acrylic, so I'm going to switch to 947, which is our darker spots here. So let's see. Like that. Alright, so now this is dry, so let's go over it with the 991 to bring it to that yellow color. Oh, this is so much fun. Yeah, I love the Americana acrylic paint. I think it works great. Now, I mean, you can see a little bit of the outlining. It's not perfect, but that's because we're really close up to this. When I zoom out, I mean, it's really hard to tell. But I hope you can kind of see how this, and I don't need to do that everywhere. Like the white of his scruff here, I'll just probably leave it just like that. So I only put the marker or the pencil over the areas that need a little bit of color. Yeah, I'm really excited about this. What do you guys think? So I'm gonna finish this up. Do you see how many, I mean, this is gonna, oh my gosh, this whole page is gonna take me a long time to do. But I wanted to do the most intricate spot, the tiger, just so you guys can see how I would do that. And then I'll do the frame. I mean, that's just gonna take, you know, probably a couple days for me to finish that. But when I'm done, I will post it on Instagram. I'll also probably show it on my Tuesday stream next week if I finish it up in time. So that way, yeah. Let's see. Totally love this picture. Oh, thank you, Leslie. Oh, hi, Amanda. Welcome. You were there yesterday. You're done with the dentist. Yeah, I hear ya. I don't like the dentist either. I'm glad glad that you're here, though. Let's see. I'm just reading the chat. Does anybody have any other questions? Thank you so much, guys. I really enjoyed doing this with you, and I hope that you guys got as much out of it as I did. I did not expect the results to be what they are, but this was the clear winner of our test. And this kind of test, I do these things all the time. So, you know, there's nothing wrong with not knowing how the materials will act or what's the best thing to use. So when you have a question like this where what should I use, just go through all your materials and try it out and see, because that's really the only way to know definitively what the right answer is. And now I can really be happy to cover all the black outlines in my book with this stuff because it is super cheap, and I don't have to feel guilty about using a lot of paint. So that's really good. I will put links in the description below of all of the materials that I used here today. So that way, if you want to go buy something, you can check it out. Just wait like about an hour after the video is done processing for me to gather all those links for you. Yeah, I'm so excited. Oh, thank you, Sammy. I'm so glad. Wait a minute. Okay, wait. What, Shannon? Did you end up taking that page out of the book? Which page? I'm waiting. Shannon. You want to be dumped by autocorrect? That's really cute. Take care, Leslie. Thanks for coming. Thanks for coming, Emily. Shannon, which page? This page? No, this is attached. Yeah, no, this is still in the book. We're good. He's still in there. And I'm gonna try not to take apart this copy of Vilin because I've done already 3 pages in it. It's this one, and now this one. And I think, yeah, that's it. So, and this is a little book. This isn't like a ton of pages. So if I were to finish any book, I think it might be this book. So I'm going to try to keep it intact and to not take any pages out. And maybe one day in the far distant future, I will finish this book and have it all be one unit, not taken apart. But we'll see. I mean, I'm not pressuring myself to do it. Yeah, it lays flat. It's an amazing book. It's glued and sewn. You can see the sewing here. I don't know if you guys can see it actually, but it's sewn, and since it's not a really thick book, it's actually his thinner book. I don't mind that. It lays completely flat, and I never have any problem working on these pages. So yeah, I love this book. And I don't mind that there's fewer pages because these pages take me ages to do. So, you know, I don't mind at all. But we'll see. I'm not pressuring myself to finish the book, but I think if I were to try and finish a book, this one might be the one that I try. But, yeah, that's gonna take me years, so I'm not gonna stress about it. Yeah, it lays so flat. Yeah, it's a great book. And even though they are double-sided pages, the paper is super thick. So you can use, you know, different materials, and it's not a big deal. I just wouldn't use Copics or any kind of alcohol-based marker. Any other questions? Yeah, I have his first book too, Strawberry. I actually have multiple copies of both of his books. 'Cause I'm a big fan. So, yeah. Oh, you're welcome. I love rabbit trails. You guys know that. No big deal. All right. I don't think there's any more questions. If you have questions and I miss them in the chat, just put them in the comments below. I always answer all of my questions in the comments. Aw, Bo, don't be scared. Yeah, she'll stream one day. We don't have to peer pressure her though. She'll stream when she's ready. I know it's very scary to do it. So, yeah, so next week, next Tuesday, I hope that you guys will be joining me for a new page. This will be a new series. This is in Kirby Roseanne's Color Morphia. I have not worked in this book yet, so I figured it'll be a good uncolored book to work in. And it is this page here. We're going to be using the Faber-Castell Polychromos. So what's great is I haven't really been using my Polychromos that much yet. I just got a full set from a wonderful supporter of the channel. Thank you so much. You know who you are. Yeah, I just want to really kind of put them through their paces and get some use out of them. So that's what we'll be doing next week. That will be next Tuesday morning as usual. And I will finish this as soon as I can and post it on Instagram. You guys will also see, I'm going to take a nice photo of this one, which I finished yesterday. I cut it down. It looks so much better cut down. And I will be posting that as well later on my Instagram. So if you want to check it out, I'm just going to make sure to take a picture where it doesn't have the glare on it. Because you can see that the pencils do make a glare. So I'll just take a nice one and post that up. So yeah, I'm so excited for next month too. We have so much going on. Oh man, you guys are so funny. Yeah, Bo, we all do support you though, and anybody who wants to live stream and is scared or nervous, I just want to take a moment here to just say, you know, I started out having huge stage fright. I used to have panic attacks, anxiety attacks, basically, where I would be trying to stream or trying to record a video, and I would end up failing. I would literally not be able to record, and I would spend the rest of the day kind of like shaky and like really scared. Some people have anxiety and stage fright, and that is totally normal. I don't think that people realize how difficult it can be. And you know, you guys are seeing me now after 2.5 years of just fighting through my fear and becoming more and more comfortable as I go. But there's a lot of videos out there that I have unlisted because it's so clear that I'm scared. I'm so scared, and it's not fun to watch. So if you're struggling through that stuff and you need a little bit of support, you can come and talk to me about it, because I'm really happy. I'm an open book about this thing. I feel like, you know, not everybody is comfortable with the camera. Sammy is a natural. I mean, don't compare yourself to Sammy, because she is so good with the camera. I don't know how she does it. But if you're struggling with anxiety and stage fright, I think it's a normal thing, and I think a lot of people suffer from it and just don't. The thing is I pushed through it because I knew that I had a lot to share, and I didn't want my fear to hold me back from the things that I wanted to give to the coloring community. So I just worked really hard. I feel like by going through all that fear and coming out the other side, like I'm still nervous sometimes. I will admit, like, it's not completely cured, but I do feel a lot more comfortable on camera, and I'm much happier streaming than I ever have been. So if you struggle with that kind of thing, just know that you can get through it. It just takes time and practice, and you will be fine. The nice thing about a camera, as opposed to like public speaking, is that you can turn off the camera. So if you guys are interested, I can make a little series about some tips on how I deal with anxiety and stage fright and stuff like that. But yeah, so if somebody's suffering, like Bo has fear of doing it, I think that's totally normal, Bo, and I don't want you to feel like you're the only one going through that, because I think a lot of live streamers deal with this, not just you. So, um, well, it's true. Yeah, Connie. See, Connie deals with it too. I think if we're all a little more open about our fears, then we can kind of beat it, because I think if you realize that you're not the only one, then it makes it less scary. So, yeah, it is a real struggle. Speed videos are a great way to practice with dealing with the camera, so there's nothing wrong with that. Oh, thank you, Connie. Yeah. I'm just, yeah, Bo, it just takes some time. Don't worry. Alright, guys. Yeah. Thank you, Sammy. Sammy is an expert, so she's offering help, guys. You should snatch her up on that offer. I might have to hit you up later, Sammy. But yeah, thank you all so much. I really love this community because we are all helping each other out and helping each other grow, both in our coloring, but also if you want to live stream. There are so many people live streaming out there who are willing to help out and willing to talk with you about how to do it, what equipment to use, etc. So, you know, use those resources. You know, hang out with people and ask them questions, because I think as a community we can all be amazing together, and I think that's really cool. So, okay, I am rambling now though, so I'm gonna get going. Um, Yeah. Oh, I love having all of you here, not just Shannon, although Shannon is very funny. But I love having all of you here. You really do. Your chats and your comments are what makes my streams so much fun. And I think me just sitting by myself and talking to myself is boring. I don't like it as much. So I really do love live streaming more than anything else. So um, yeah, Sue, love and support, definitely. And I do love you guys. Well, I'm going to leave it on that note. So thank you all so much for joining. And don't forget to hit the like and the subscribe if you're new to my channel. I love you guys so much. We're going to be doing a whole new series. So I will post the finished page on Instagram. And yeah, if you have any questions, post them in the comments below. I think I've already said all this already. So, yeah. Alright, guys. I love you so much. I'm going to give a shout out and then we're going to get going. We have Sammy, Charlotte, Louise. Hi, Louise. Emily and Amanda, Shannon, Charlotte. I think I said that already. Sorry, my bad. We've got Sue and Rosemary. Who else is here that I missed? We've got Strawberry. Thanks for joining us, Strawberry. And Bo, of course. Who else is here? Connie, thanks for joining. And Emily. Who else? I'm just scrolling. We've got Che Baby. I don't think I've seen you before. Welcome. Who else? Oh, I'm sorry, I missed your question earlier, Che. I recommend Tombows for this book because they don't bleed through. And you can watch my earlier streams where I use them throughout this series. And what else? I think that was it. We've got Arita. Thanks for coming, Arita. And who else is here? Oh, Joey. Thanks for coming, guys. And Kelly, Dorothy. You had to do it alone. Oh no. Alright, guys. Thank you so much. I hope you have a wonderful, magical time coloring. Bye.